One of the great fights I would have loved to see, and that I think will never happen. And it joins the list of fantastic fights that we'll never get. And that really sucks. Is it Islam Makhachev versus Ilya Topuria? Subscribe to the channel. I'm bringing you the analysis of who I think would have won if this fight, which will never happen, had taken place. Oh, it doesn't hurt. It burns. It hurts me. So, let's start with everyone's favorite troll and the most sensible person in all of mixed martial arts and slam, Mahachev. The Dagestani, who doesn't eat ham, is considered the best wrestler and grappler in the lightweight division. His sambo-based style allows him to take down, control, and submit elite opponents. His ground pressure is similar to Khabib Nurmagomedov's, which allows him to smother his opponents with a good dose of punishment. Besides, he has no trouble making smooth transitions to his submissions, like his victory here. Or his other victory here. Topuria, although he has great wrestling and great jiu-jitsu skills, has never faced, at least publicly, a fighter with the level of Mahachev. That's why I think Islam could exploit that. Taking the fight to the ground repeatedly, especially in the championship rounds, where usually his endurance and control techniques shine the most. He fights at lightweight, but weighs the same as a welterweight by fight time. And watch out, he's not the only one who does it. He's about 8 centimeters taller than Topuria according to sources, but size doesn't always matter, although, unlike what your ex said, it can make a difference. In the clinch, or against the cage, Islam could use his physique to try to wear Topuria down. His wrestling also benefits from this structural advantage, making it more difficult for the shorter Topuria to escape or reverse positions. Makhachev has fought 3 fights that went to the championship rounds. The first against Volkanovski, another against Thiago Santos, and his bout against Poirier. And in all 3 occasions, he showed the ability to maintain a high pace and adjust his strategies as needed. On the other hand, Topuria only has one 5-round fight against Josh Emmett, where he didn't face any extreme wear and tear thanks to his very polished boxing for mixed martial arts. Islam could use this to put pressure in rounds 4 and 5, when a Topuria, who isn't used to pressure like the Russians, might start to show fatigue. That's when Islam's wrestling and control become even more effective, because the opponent loses explosiveness. And that's when Islam pins him down, beats him up, applies pressure, and submits him. How dare you! Topuria has one of the most technical and powerful boxing styles in the UFC featherweight division. He's a pleasure to watch. Unlike Belal, I could genuinely say this guy has hands as skilled as Canelo. Unlike Makhachev, whose striking is functional but less explosive, Topuria combines precision, speed, and devastating power with both hands. His ability to land lethal shots like the one that finished Jay Herbert would be a constant threat to Islam, especially if the fight stays standing and he can't bring it to his own game. Also, Topuria has more variety in his strikes, body hooks, and several fluid combinations, which would allow him to score points or create openings to get the knockout if Mahachev makes mistakes during the exchanges. And let's remember that Mahachev has already been knocked down as well. Ilya hasn't faced a wrestler of Makhachev's caliber yet. The Spanish Jordanian has a takedown defense of 93% according to the UFC, and this is thanks to his background in Greco-Roman wrestling and jiu-jitsu. His balance, sprawls, and distance management are excellent, as demonstrated against Ryan Hall and Bryce Mitchell, both dangerous grapplers. If he anticipates Islam's level changes using lateral movements and underhooks, he could keep the fight standing. In my opinion, Makhachev is more dominant, but even so, if he gets taken down, his active guard and skill in scrambles, like the ones he used against Yusuf Zalai, would give him the chance to get back up, which would be crucial against an opponent like Islam. Topuria is much faster than Mahachev, but he would have to be close to be able to use it. His fists are damaging at close and medium range, and he has lightning-fast reflexes for counterattacks. This is, in my view, a crucial point, because Slam usually lowers his head to go in when looking for takedowns, leaving space for uppercuts or a good knee to land to the most vital area. His hand speed would also give him the chance to win early rounds, forcing Mahachev to rush and make mistakes. Now let's look at some weaknesses in each one's game, and how can you say no to a face like this? Let's start with Slam. Although Islam started with Sanda and has improved significantly, his striking, especially when combined with his wrestling, can sometimes be caught by precise shots when fighting at range. Why does this happen? You tell me. It's simple. This is because his main focus is usually to close the distance to look for the clinch or the takedown, which can leave him exposed to counterattacks. And guess what? Who could be dangerous in that area? Makhachev's success is primarily due to his ground control and his opponent's fear of being taken down. If Topuria's defense effectively stops the Russian's attempts, making his game less dominant. This could force him to spend more energy and change his strategy, which could open up opportunities for his opponent. And now, to the dismay of the Topuria lovers, and risking that they might protest in front of my house, let's talk about some of the weaknesses that Islam could exploit. When he steps into the octagon, his feet practically stick to it. He doesn't kick much. In fact, he mostly uses calf kicks like Poitin, but obviously Poitins are on another level. And I understand why he avoids kicking a lot. First, because his main weapon is boxing, and second, because a poorly executed kick could take him to the ground. But legs are longer than arms, and they can help you keep your opponent at a distance. For instance, oblique kicks, while not very high, are feared due to their dangerous nature. In fact, they can inflict significant damage, as their strikes can be devastating. As mentioned earlier, any combat area you don't utilize essentially cedes ground to your opponent, facilitating their strategy execution. That's why I think an opponent like Slam, with the corner he has, could know how to take advantage of this. Ili's style is often based on explosive movements, which has worked tremendously well for him. Besides, this allows him to generate a lot of power and finish fights with big bombs. But being explosive is exhausting. You can run out of gas along the way, and you have to slow down if you can't handle it. However, Topuria faced difficulties in his lightweight bout. Despite winning, it was arguably his most challenging UFC fight. But let's get to the moment of truth. Who do I think could win? If this fight happens in the near future, it's not going to happen because Islam is moving up to welterweight. This fight won't happen, so let's not entertain the idea. But if it did happen, honestly, I think the winner in a fight between these two would undoubtedly be... No, seriously, if this fight happens, at least in my opinion, it's pretty tough. I think either one could come out victorious. Islam could take down, control, and grind down Topuria, while the latter could take advantage of his striking and keep the Russian at bay with his high takedown defense. Now, what I do see as more likely is that Ilia wins by knockout or technical knockout, while I think Islam could win by decision or by submission. I think, at least based on the data and the fights we have from both of them, that if the fight stays standing and on the feet in the striking department, in my opinion, Topuria has a 60% chance of winning the fight, giving him the advantage. Now, if with his strategy, Islam manages to get an effective clinch and take Topuria down, then the victory would be 60-40 in favor of Islam. Anyway, as I was saying, this fight is not going to happen, at least for now. If it happens again, and what if in the future we find ourselves in a similar situation? We will analyze what has happened from this moment until then, and see if there are any new developments. For now, it's Charles who is going to face the Matador. Remember that we analyzed his fight recently, and tell me, what do you think would happen in this hypothetical fight and with this hypothetical outcome? And if you identify other advantages or disadvantages of the protagonists in this video, ones that I missed, let me know. See you in the next one. Thanks for being there, everyone.